Better?
That's
Oh,
check. Down. Yeah, that's good.
that's good.
Sometimes I hear myself, and when I'm talking, I'm like, is this what I sound like? Then I forget about what I'm talking about.
What do you mean? Is this what I sound like?
You know,
Like I've just got trick mics.
Yeah, I thought I sounded cool in this.
You've got like the most mic experience out of us all.
Oh man, I hated being in a band and like having like just
We're in a band.
Yes. Talk about it often.
Yeah,
but like when you're doing sound check, and they'd be like, they'd go to the singer and he'd just fucking sing some shit, and then the other guitarist she'd just like talk into the microphone, and then it comes to me and I'm like, what do I say? just sing or something.
Yeah,
I'm
just
like,
shut up and play your guitar.
Check.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, episode 50, eh?
I can't believe I made a milestone.
I know.
You get settled for me.
Wouldn't have wanted anyone else here. There was some controversy about an hour ago. With fucking Adrian just pulling the... Oh, yeah, that cunt.
I was there for that.
Yeah. Nah, so it's supposed to be like the OG crew, but Adrian's, I don't know, eating a bad bat or something.
He's sick.
Yeah.
Bag of bat.
A bad bat, not a bag of bat.
One bag of bat, please.
Yeah, so it's just me and Ash now. I'm sure we've got plenty to fucking catch up on. How's the sunny coast?
Nah, good. Well, you just mentioned this is the 50th episode. I think it was the 25th episode, which is halfway, which last time was just us two.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
And that was when I confessed my shitting in aisle 15 of Bunnings.
Oh, that was a good episode.
Good ep.
Are you going to visit Bunnings while you're here?
I was
Shit in there again?
I was just going to rock up, shit and leave. Yeah. Get my keys cut, shit and leave.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Sunny coast, you loving it?
Yeah, it's all right. Fuck it, I'm moving back.
Yeah, sweet. I thought you would.
Nothing interesting to talk about.
Sweet, and that has been episode 50.
See you next week. Nah, it was all right. It's just, he's all right. It's just more relaxed. Fucking nothing different except a lot more road rage incidences on the freeway. Did you hear the last one?
No.
Some dude from Yandina, which is like the suburb over, fucking chased his missus out in the freeway. Oh, no. He chased a car out. I think it was like an old dude who'd picked up his missus trying to hitchhike away from him or some shit.
Right.
And then he spun him out on the freeway. And then, so old mate was freaking out and went the opposite way on the freeway. And then old mate kept chasing him, spun him out again, head on into like another car and killed like 3 people.
Really? Oh, yeah. Nikita told me something.
Yeah,
Nikita told me something about 3 people getting killed in a crash. Holy fuck, I can't talk tonight.
And he's not like on murder charges now. And then you see the photo of him. He's just like this dude with an eyebrow tat. Like, we should have picked it.
Did you turn to Katie and go, let's move back to Logan?
It's like, I'd much rather get shot at than spun out in the freeway.
Fucking hell. I'm to be honest, I'm looking forward to this episode because we've had a few guests lately. And I've actually had a few people message me and say one part that they've missed with the new format of the podcast is me admitting awkward and embarrassing shit in my life. Just
what do you mean?
Just like, you know how we used to go off on tangents and shit?
Yeah.
But then when I've got like last week we had Andrew Hamilton and like he doesn't want to hear about a Portaloo flicking shit in my mouth. Like,
true.
Well,
that's the thing. Like you started having like these comedians on and you're being more like guest orientated as opposed to just us talking shit and then maybe having a guest on, which is usually our mate.
For sure, yeah.
And now it kind of like pushes your personal stories down.
Yeah, 100%. Which, I was hoping Adrian was going to be here to have like a on-air discussion. Because, I do miss that shit for sure.
It was like fact checkers now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's probably vaccinated. That's why I say
sick. 100%. Yeah. That's what I heard anyway. He's probably got a mic in here right now listening. Yep. He's just going to come through in like 10 minutes.
Yep, straight up.
But yeah, for sure, I do miss that part of just like, because I was thinking about it, especially the last like week building up to episode 50 and shit like that. Yeah. And I was like, up until episode 44 or whatever it was almost like a weekly diary for me sort of thing to like
therapy session.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And like when I turned 90, I could listen back and go, I remember when I did that shit gig or something like that.
Back before World War III, we complained about the dumbest shit.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if we have another reformat. I don't know.
About what? Well, you should have a second podcast of the things that...
Yeah, maybe. I was thinking that either like
Public therapy. That's what
I think a
it's
second podcast a week would be too much for me at the moment.
you gotta get one successful one first.
No, like a double ep. Like have a guest and then a fucking James venting session.
I suppose you could.
Yeah, but then I was thinking as well, maybe like how your mum's house does it. Do you listen to them?
Nah, not really.
So they basically, Tom and Christina basically do like half an hour of them just venting about their life or whatever. And then they're like, here's our guest for the week. And then it's like an hour with the guest.
In the same podcast or like separate?
Same podcast. Yeah.
Because a lot of people do they'll do their public YouTube stream or whatever, and then they'll go, all right, well, join us behind the paywall.
Yeah.
But obviously,
Yeah,
you got to be
obviously.
big to do that.
Yeah. And if I wanted $20 off my mum, I could just ask her.
Mum, if you're listening,
Yeah, she's listening.
need a fifth
She
mic.
said she'd come around today. She's like, who have you got tonight? And I'm like, Ash. And she's like, oh, I'm very excited for this one.
Cute. You should have had your mum on.
Yeah, I should one day.
She can fact check us.
No. Yeah, well, you hit me up a couple of weeks ago because we'll start on one of my stories that I've been wanting to tell on here for a while.
Let loose on me.
And I'm glad Adrian's
you
not
can be
here.
my guest.
I'm glad Adrian's not here because a couple of weeks ago I put on my Instagram story that I got bitten by a dingo. And did I break this down in the chat?
So all I remember was you put up, you sent me a photo, or you sent us a photo of like a little baby gash on your leg or something, and you're like, this is the result of a dog bite.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's either really deep and sore or it's just the pussiest bite ever.
It's deep as fuck. I'll show you after the podcast.
Okay.
So story is right. I have to go and measure this job that I wasn't meant to measure anyway. Our boss was supposed to go and measure it, but I got stitched up. So I get to this job and the dog is like trying to jump over the fence and is barking already.
So it's a neighbour's dog of that.
No, the actual house.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I get out of the ute and I'm like, oh, here we go. And this thing, obviously it's probably not, but it looked like a purebred dingo, like 100%.
So it's like a German Shepherd or something?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what it is. And I'm waiting for us to install the job now so that our installers can take a photo of this dog so I can prove my innocence. Anyway, so the guy's like, oh, come inside. And he's like trying to push his dog down a little bit. Like he's not making any effort.
Just pat it.
Yeah. And then so I get to the door and I'm like, oh, you want me to take my boots off? He's like, yes, please. So as soon as I started to take my boot off, this thing starts nipping at my heels. And I'm like, fuck off. And like gave it a little, not a kick, but like
a shovel.
Yeah, basically. Anyway, every step I took in the house, it went for each heel.
Serious?
Yeah, and this dude's just started
of
power
your bare feet now. Or
Yeah,
your
yeah,
socks
of my
or whatever.
socks.
Yeah.
So what I had to measure was upstairs. Every step upstairs, nip. And I had to measure a desk, right? So I'm down on the ground measuring underneath an existing desk for a height. And this dog is like nipping at my arm. And the dude's watching.
As an owner, I'd be like, sorry about my dog.
100%. As an like, my dog's a fucking psycho. And most of the time if people come over, I've either locked her outside or like with you and Adrian now, she's like, I can hold her by the collar and...
She went off at me more than usual. She probably thinks, this isn't a comedian. This guy thinks he's funny, but he's not.
This guy with the shit jokes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I go, oh, mate, your dog hasn't stopped biting me since I got here. And he's like, oh, sorry, we've been trying to stop it from doing that. And I'm like, okay, try harder. But anyway, so then he's like, oh, we'll go measure the cupboard downstairs. So he power walks again. He's gone. So I'm left alone with this dog that keeps biting me. And I start walking down the stairs. Halfway down the stairs, this thing just latches onto my calf. And like a proper bite this time. And I've turned around and I've like...
But so where was the owner when this happened?
Already down in the room. We had to go measure. So he didn't see it or anything. So I've turned around and I've like given it a little smack off my leg without being like just aggressive in case it like went for my face.
A light baby smack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've yelled out to him. I'm like, mate, your dog just bit me hard. And he's like, come out of the room. And I've got blood like dripping down my leg.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then he got the dog and locked it outside. And I'm like, why didn't you do that from the start? And then fucking, he wanted to keep going. And I'm like, mate, I'm going. I'm like, if you need more measurements, then someone else can come back, because I was fucking raging.
Yeah.
Anyway, the kicker to the story, I get back to
So how did he take that when you said that?
Oh, he didn't. He was just like, I think he assumed I had enough. He was, how do I put,
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. English wasn't his first language.
Oh, so you're a racist. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Adrian said I could say this because
Yeah.
he made some racist remarks about what this guy was going to do to his dog.
Oh.
And he's that race.
Oh, he's Chinese.
Yeah. So, anyway, so I get to the car and I'm like, who can I call to vent? And I'm like, Adrian. Which is the worst.
I can't
mistake.
wait till Saturday.
Yeah. This was the worst mistake. So I vent to him. I tell him that whole story, and I'm worked up in the moment. I'm fucking
Dripping
fuming.
blood all through the
Yeah,
road,
yeah.
dude.
I'm fuming. I get to the end, and he goes, I get why you're angry, but it's kind of your fault.
Oh, here we go. Of course, he turns it around. And
Yeah.
he will overthink your situation
Yeah.
and then logically turn it around on you to the
100%.
point where you're like, maybe you're right.
Yeah. And I was so angry. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? I'm like, his dog bit me. How's that my fault? And he's like, we should have asked like him to put his dog outside sooner. And I'm like,
Yeah, but that's such like a retrospect way.
yeah,
of thinking.
100%.
It's like
In the- yeah.
you should have thought of notifying the airlines that terrorists were going to fly planes into your buildings.
For sure. But I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to call someone else. So I hung up from him.
Should have called me.
Yeah, I should have.
I would have pat you on the back.
Yeah. So I called my boss. He was much more sympathetic.
Yeah.
Didn't let me go home.
Can't
early,
imagine
though.
that. But yeah.
Oh, he wasn't sympathetic. He just let me vent. Let me have my moment. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a potential workers' comp issue.
Well, that's what I said to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how I started the conversation. I'm like, if I have the next 6 months off work, this is why. And then boom,
Yeah.
let him have it.
So did you have to get a stitch in that?
Nah.
Half a stitch from what I saw.
Oh, God.
Have you got a photo? Can you put one up or not?
Nah, I don't have a... Oh, I've got the old photo, but it'll take longer to transfer than anyone would give a fuck about.
Don't worry about it. It looked like just a single puncture wound.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what it was. It was just one of its canines that punctured, and then the other ones must have, I don't know.
Just
That-
squished into
yeah,
the
yeah,
skin. Yeah. Okay.
So
What they have to do with the doctors? Just clean it out.
I didn't go to the doctors.
Oh.
No, yeah, that's the thing. I'm in the ute angry.
So you have rabies.
Probably. Well, that's...
Yeah.
Today I noticed the hair around it is like falling out.
It's radioactive.
Yeah, so I asked Nikita, and she Googled it, and she's like, oh, no, it means there's an infection. And she's like, oh, wait, that's if dog's hair starts falling out. And I'm like, okay, thanks. So I still don't know what's wrong with it. But anyway.
So it's still an issue? Is it still painful?
It still hurts a bit, yeah. But yeah, I didn't go to the doctors because I got back to the ute with the full intention that I was going to go to the doctors. But then when I got called a bitch by one person and the other person was like, yeah, sweet, so when are you getting that next job?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Your
I guess
doctor's
I'll
going
just
to call you a bitch. Yeah.
wrap a rag and masking tape around this and
Fair enough.
deal with it later.
Yeah. My apprentice sliced... Oh, I sent you the photo.
Yeah,
didn't I?
yeah.
He-
What was the thing he had around his thumb? Was that
Oh.
just to cut off like blood flow or something?
Yeah, it stops it bleeding so they can stitch or clean it out and stitch it up.
Yeah, I've
'Cause
never
it
seen that.
It just kept bleeding
True.
for ages. Yeah. So I walked in from one because you got two little factories. I walked in from one to the other, and he's looking at me. He's like, "Oh, I've cut myself," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then he sort of let go of it, and there's blood everywhere, dripping all over the floor and shit.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, I could probably like put a Band-Aid on." And he was a bit scattered, and I'm like, "I'll go get a clean rag." So I went to the rag box, got one, and by then he's just like, he goes,
Passed
"Oh,
out.
I could probably just wrap it up in something." I'm like, "Show me," like open it up and show me, and I could see the inside of his thumb.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's stitches, man. So, yeah,
Yeah, it looked pretty
Real-
hectic from what you showed me.
yeah, it was decent. So I don't know if he'll be in next week. Ruined Friday Arvo beers for me.
Friday, Arvo beers. Fucking hell.
That's the thing.
I remember when I was an apprentice, like I was super fresh, and the tradie goes, "Oh, go out and plane this down to 10 mil," and I'd never even used a planer. Dickhead me, like had the piece in my hand, and I've just gone buzz and like playing the corner off my pinky. But it grew back pretty sweet. But I went back to him freaking out, like I had to be rushed to hospital. 'Cause I was
Carry
like,
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was super new, and he looked at it and he's like, "Oh, I'll wrap it up and we'll deal with it when we get back to work." And I'm like, "Oh, I want to go back to school." Fucking hell.
Yeah, but I like your new, because I haven't been on since your new format of basing the podcast around when things can't get any worse.
Yeah.
And on the way here, I was like, I got
Here
nothing.
we go.
Like I've said it. I've told all my stories
yeah.
on here. Whether it was like all my friends calling me out as a virgin when I'm 18 in front of the movie theater, or shitting myself in every continent.
Yeah.
But, you know. But yeah, I got nothing. I
Fuck
can
yeah.
I can definitely complain about
Again,
shit.
thanks for coming to
Yeah.
episode 50.
Do you want me to complain about my life right now?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got things to complain. Like this
100%.
week, or last week, it sucked because, the week started, my car stopped working.
Yeah, I heard that.
So my car, I turned it on and it was in limp mode, so I
Mm.
couldn't go over like fucking 2 k's an hour.
Fuck yeah.
And it was flashing up that the pre-collision sensor was malfunctioning. I'm like, oh, warranty issue, because my car's under warranty. So I rang Toyota. They're like, we can't get you in for a week. I'm like, well, that's fucked because I have to pick my kids up.
Yeah.
I got the 2 baby seats. I have to pick them up every arvo.
Yeah, for sure.
So my boss had a spare car to use, so I was using that. Dropped my car off that. Oh, sorry. So in the meantime, I got a $1,000 electrical bill. So since we moved there, we've somehow racked up $1,000 worth of electricity, which I don't get.
Yeah, right.
In
How
a
long have you
quarter?
been there now?
Like 3.5 months.
Yeah, right. That's a lot, eh?
Yeah.
Ours went up as well for some reason. Nikita showed me yesterday, but she had a reason. I don't remember though.
Just plug-in vibrators, man.
Yeah.
So we had that bill, and I was like, okay, I got to protest that one day when I get time. And then I finally dropped my car off to Toyota. I'm like, so the sensor thing, that's covered under warranty? She's like, yeah, if it's a parts issue or whatever. I'm like, all right, sweet. And then I'm like, I'm really overdue for my service. Can you do that while it's in? And she's looked at the logbook. She's like, you're actually due for the next service, which is a major one. I'm like, all right, well, I've got cap servicing, so I may as well use it. And she goes, no, that ran out last year. I'm like, oh, okay. So what's a major service cost? She's like, $580. I'm like, oh, that sucks dick. So I'm like, well, I guess I have to do it. So did that. And then she goes, just so you know, if the sensor issue is, if rats have chewed through the sensor or something, it's $150 diagnosis fee.
True.
I'm like, okay, whatever.
Oddly specific.
Yeah. And then the next day they ring me and they're like, it turns out rats have chewed through, through your pre-collision sensor.
Fucking hell.
I'm like, really? And then the guy's banging on about like, oh, it's real common. Mice are nesting in engines and like, just really fucking selling it to me. I'm like, okay. Anyway, he goes, it's $150 diagnosis fee. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. He goes, and it's 4 hours labour, so you're looking at about $680. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, and you need 2 new tyres on the back. They're down to the illegal fucking smoothness.
Down to the rim.
Yeah, and like $345 each. I'm like, okay, well, leave the tyres. I can do that myself for probably $150 each.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, and also your windscreen wiper rubbers need changing. They're $60. I'm like, are they fucking made of graphene or something?
Yeah.
Like,
I suppose they'd be used all like Toyota genuine parts or some shit.
They fucking throw it in there, eh? So I got stung with like, $1,200 bill for my car, $1,000 bill for my electricity. And in the meantime, I'm building a shed out the front of my house and we've tried to do it as legal as possible by getting all the approvals and shit. So we've got we're liaising with the council worker dude who fucking emails back and forth with like all our regulations and measurements from boundaries and shit. And because it's zero lotted, we're building right on the boundary.
Right.
So literally the edge of the shed is the fence for the next house sort of thing. We had to get all the proper approvals. And the very last step is to get your neighbour to tick a piece of paper to say that you've acknowledged them what's happening.
Yeah.
And then like, all right, sweet. So we've paid $2,500 to get the ball rolling, non-refundable. Gone to the neighbour. He's like, nah. Basically, the person who owns the house is his mother-in-law, and they've just put her in a home, and they're trying to sell the house. He's like, yeah, no, all sweet. Yeah, we'll get it sorted. We'll take it to her and get her to sign it. Anyway, like 2 weeks later, heard nothing, and then he comes out one day. He's like, oh, just let you know, she doesn't want to sign it. Yeah, there's just too much going on for her. She doesn't want to sign the paper. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he goes, but just build the shed. Don't worry about us. Fucking doesn't matter. Just don't worry about us. Just build the shed. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm building the shed regardless. I need you to sign this off so we can build it legally.
For sure.
And he's like, she just doesn't want to sign it. It's all good. I'm like, no, it's not good. I've just spent $2,500 to get the ball rolling, and you may as well come over and just pull the fruit out of my kid's mouth. And he goes, oh, that's a lot of money. I'm like, yeah, and it's non-refundable. And like, we got till the 1st October. It's time sensitive.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, anyway. And you just start changing the subject. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Fucking
Anyway,
hell.
so I've got to, anyway, if you're listening, neighbour, you're a pussy and your wife's a cunt. So
It's like, I told you about our retaining wall like 2 years ago.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So similar scenario. The previous owners, we worked out a deal with them. We're going to go 50-50 for this retaining wall, blah, blah, blah. And then like a week later, for sale sign went in the front yard, and I'm like, oh, this could cause some issues. House sold super quickly, and then the new people that moved in, we knew them, like from, like Nikita and I went to school with her. So we didn't want to be like, oh, congrats on your new house. Now give us fucking $4,000 for this retaining wall. Because like, I don't know, I felt bad, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I just had to cop all that retaining wall. So it wasn't awkward.
Yeah. Well, that's like when we moved into our house, I went to the open home before we bought it just to look at it. And it was an old shitty rotten timber fence between us and the other neighbour.
Yeah.
And when I pulled up, there was fencing guys there ripping that fence out. Like, this is weird. And then she walks over while everyone's just looking at this house. She's like, just so you all know, I'm putting in a brand new colour one fence and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so we won the house, obviously, and moved in.
Won the house.
Won the house.
We won it.
We won it. Cost a bit. And then, we spoke to the old owner, and he's like, yeah, this bitch come over and tried to fucking give us half the bill.
True.
I'm like, yeah, that's what happens.
Fuck, we got a bit of a win yesterday, literally, with our fence. So the fence running on our right-hand side of our yard, it's long as fuck, and it's been dodgy since we moved in, and it's getting to the point now, if Westy will kick a soccer ball at it, it'll be like, ooh. It'll be like, is this it? Is this the time it's going to go?
It's like a vertical trampoline.
Yeah. So Nikita was sitting on the trampoline yesterday, and we're looking at it, and I'm kicking the ball with Westy. The ball hits it, and she goes, oh, we've got to fucking get some pricing for this fence. And we back onto like bushland. So I'm like, oh, well, normally you go 50-50 with your neighbour. I'm like, call the council and see if like they'll go halves with us or something. And she's like, oh, fuck, that's a good idea. So she called Logan City Council, and she was on the phone for like 20 minutes with this bitch. And she's like, oh, well, I've got some good news for you guys. And Nikita's like, oh, okay. She's like, well, technically your where the bush starts is classed as state land. So it's actually a government, like it's government land, not council land. She's like, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of phone calls, but legally, state government has to replace your fence like free of charge.
The whole fence that divides your houses.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah, apparently.
Because the back half touches that bush.
Yeah.
Ah.
So whether or not, again, we just got a phone call, like some bitch on the other end of a phone telling us that. We're probably going to call state government. They'll be like, we're busy dealing with real shit.
Did you speak to Kaz again?
Yeah. Classic stitch up. Yesterday I got so I'm in the process of starting my business back up again. So yeah, that's all the wheels are turning for that. And because of that, I've had to do the shitty thing of put my phone number on the internet again. So all day for the last like week, it's just been like telemarketers and people offering me business insurance and blah, blah, blah.
You can design your website.
Yeah, basically. Yesterday I get a phone call and he goes, and it was this super over-the-top bubbly dude, and he goes, it's just so-and-so from Queensland Police. And I'm like, oh, okay. They've got me. And he goes, oh, you're not in trouble or anything like that? And I'm like, classic. And he goes, and they used to call me all the time when I had the business. And they go, basically, we're putting together our annual Queensland Police magazine. We want to feature your business in it. So everyone we give these out to, they can flip through if they need a cabinet maker and they can call you.
Yeah.
And he's gave me this like 10-minute rant that I've heard before. And all through that, I'm trying to like interrupt him because A, I don't have fucking money for the ad at the moment. And B, I don't really want to do it at this current moment.
Yeah.
So we get to the end and he's all super bubbly. He's like, how's that sound, mate? Is that something you want to do? And then I go, oh, at this point, not really, mate. I'm like, I literally just started back up this week. I'm like, things are a little hectic at the moment, like finding my way back in the industry, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just want to find my feet before I push anything too hard. That's all I said.
Yeah.
And this dude flips a switch and he goes, "Too hard, mate." He goes, "It's good to hear that you think that the Queensland Police putting their lives on the line is too hard for you," and then just hangs up.
What?
And I wanted to be like, that's not what I meant.
Oh my God.
But I was like,
that's real unprofessional.
100%. That's what I thought. And
Sounds like a scam though.
You reckon? Because they used to call me all the time, and it's a legit thing. They do a like magazine. Could be a scam. I don't fucking know.
Unless you're the 15th caller to say nah.
Maybe.
And
But I was like,
quota.
And then I said it to Nikita, and she's like, yeah. She's like, I know how you said it because I know how you talk, but maybe someone might have misinterpreted that.
Yeah.
But I didn't go, fucking you dog piece of shit.
You're not obligated to do it just because he spam called you.
Exactly. But yeah, it was he took the too hard thing as I meant like it was too hard to support the police. I said, I don't want to push my business too hard. Like,
yeah. No, he's a fuckhead. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Don't tell Adrian. He'll call you a bitch and say it's your fault.
I'll have to do like public service or something.
Katie came home one day. She's like, there's this thing that I saw. It was like a Channel 9 article or something about Gina Reinhardt invested all of this money into this thing, and it's like I can't remember the details. Like I'm just trying to like scrape it together in my head now. But like basically, she made a fuckload of money off. Basically, you give this company some money and they'll invest it for you and get a guaranteed return.
Yeah, right.
It sounds scammy.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's kind of banging on about it. She goes, oh, like all we need to do is just put like small amount of money in here and like we can probably get some money out of it. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, yeah. I'm like, you can ring up and ask. She's like, okay. And so she filled some details in to like the article link that it gave and put a phone number in. Anyway, we get a phone call back within 10 seconds and it's this guy and he's like, oh, just like inquiring with us about what we put our details in, we're interested. So he's talking about it and I was like, she ended up putting me on the phone and I'm like, so what is it? Like, explain it to me. So he started explaining it to me. It's basically, give us your money, we'll invest it for you and you'll get some money back. And I'm like, oh, okay, sounds too easy. So I'm just talking back and forth with him. He got to a point where I was just like, all right, cool. Thanks for giving me the information. I know I said this. I'm like, I'll talk to my people and and I'll get back to you. Because I just wanted to figure out what it was. Yeah. Thinking it's probably a scam of some sort. But then if it's on like a Channel 9 article, like surely.
For sure.
Anyway, so he's like, and then like he said, a switch flipped and he's like, what do you mean talk to your people? In his Indian accent. And I'm like, well, I mean, I just got to, I had no idea what to say after that. I'm like, I'm not going to commit to anything right now. I just wanted to sort of get some info off you. And he's like, but I mean, what's $200? Like, I mean, and he's just trying to convince me in this like douche way.
For sure.
And I'm like, mate, it's fine. Like, I've gotten the info. Thank you for filling me in. And then he just so aggressive towards me. I'm like, okay, bye. Hung up. She was getting up to 30 something phone calls a day. And it turns out it wasn't like off a Channel 9 website. It was just a random thing that popped up in her feed, which had like Channel 9. Like it was just such like, it was a scam fucking JPEG, which had this anyway. So yeah, she clicked the link, put the details in, which you shouldn't do because she just gets smashed with scammers now. And she still gets them. And this was at the time she was applying for jobs. Right. So she's like, I have to answer these calls, otherwise I'm just like screening these like job interviews.
Well, that's pretty much where I'm at as well. Like it could be a job, like and I have to be like, and they talk like no matter how many times you interrupt them, like when you can tell it's a telemarketer, I have no issue hanging up now. But when it's like they like hook you in with like a genuine something, and I'm like, oh, this could be something, and then it goes, and I'm like, fuck you.
They're the modern day middle stall people that try and get you. Oh, like your shoes. Yeah, like, oh, really? Thanks. And then you start talking. By the way, you want to give us your credit card number?
Yeah, we had one of them yesterday as well, walking through the shop. And
how are they still a thing?
I don't know. This big Kiwi dude's like, want to sponsor a child? And I'm like, oh, no, thanks, mate. And he's like...
Sound of freedom.
Yeah, he's like, what, you don't care about kids? And I had my 2 fucking kids with me. And I'm like no.
I kept these 2, didn't I?
Yeah. Fucking sponsor these ones enough.
Fuck.
Yeah, but like, I don't know why like they must get trained to just be aggressive fuckwits if someone says no, as if you're going to turn around and be like, oh shit, sorry, like... Yeah, I definitely want to do it now that you pointed out that I'm a piece of shit. Like,
I don't know if I told you the story at the time I got sucked into one. I was probably like 20 or something, and I was at the Hyperdome, and I'm looking for Telstra, and I couldn't find it. And I walked past like Surf Life Saving charity thing, and there was this chick there, and she was like pretty good looking, and she's like yelling out, like, you know, trying to get my attention, and I'm like, fuck, I've been looking for Telstra forever. So I walked over to him, like, she started talking, like, I'll listen to you if you tell me where Telstra is. And she goes, okay, and then she like gave me a spiel, and then talked me into like donating a fucking $1 a week or some shit.
True.
Oh, I forgot what I think it was like.
Yeah.
$1 a day, so maybe like $7 a week. It was something like that. It didn't sound like much.
Yeah.
They do the whole, do you drink coffee? Would you forfeit one coffee a week to like sponsor a fucking drowning child?
You probably wouldn't.
I wouldn't now.
No.
Fuck no. I love my coffee. And so I ended up doing it to find out what Telstra was. And I got home that day and I told Mum, like, I think I signed up to a thing where they like take money out of my bank whenever they want, because I had no idea how shit worked. And Mum's like, that's bullshit. She shouldn't have fucking done that. So she like got the details, rung them up, abused the shit out of them, and got my details stripped from the site or whatever it was. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I was like, thanks, Mum. I'll never move out.
Yeah. Fucking hell. That's hectic. Yeah, my mum used to always support Martyr Children's Hospital. Because
Represent. Born there.
Yeah, so every time we used to walk past one of them, she'd stop and she'd like buy a raffle ticket or whatever the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
And every fucking time she'd be like, you guys saved my son's life. And like, she's like, that's why I'm donating, blah, blah, blah.
They're like, they don't work here anymore.
Anyway, so then when I turned like 18, I saw one and I was like, oh, I should probably like keep the tradition going. So I went and bought one and it was so much hassle. And I was just like, fuck this.
What was the
I
raffle
wish
ticket?
I was dead. No, you know where they like give away cars or jet skis or something.
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Whatever those
Shit
are.
that never gets won.
Yeah,
Does anyone ever win it? Like,
I haven't. No.
nah, haven't you?
I won this whole studio.
What a prize. Yeah, like you always see like a Lamborghini or some shit just sitting there. And you're like, does someone actually win it?
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
will I ever know who it is?
Yeah, there's heaps of scams.
It's like those prize homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been sucked into prize homes thinking we're going to win it.
Yeah, I
Like
have.
a lottery.
I think you sucked me into one like a year ago.
How?
Because you like put it in our little group chat. You're like, oh, Katie just bought tickets
Oh,
in
yeah.
this. And I was like, I clicked on it and I'm like, this house is fucking sick.
She tried the whole, let's manifest it together and maybe
And
we'll
I
win
think
it.
you rubbed off on me. And I'm like, oh, if Ash isn't going to win it, then maybe I'll win it.
There's a 50-50 chance I will win it,
Yeah.
technically. You
Yeah,
either
yeah.
win or you don't.
Fuck. Yeah, there's so many of those. Like, there's LMCT Plus who does like raffles like that as well. I think it's like $12 a month for me. And every raffle, I'm like, could be my chance. But it's never going to be my chance.
Nah.
But it's a bit of fun.
It's like lotto. The chances of winning lotto is fucking astronomically small.
Mm.
I worked it out the other week. I don't know why.
Here we go.
What was it?
You're going to rot the lotto
okay.
system.
I was driving with Katie and there was a car broken down at a roundabout.
Okay.
And I was like, that's bad luck. If you're going to break down, what's the chances you'll break down at a roundabout?
Mm.
I'm sure I could fucking figure this out. So, knowing me, I got ChatGPT open.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many roundabouts in Australia? What's the average size of a roundabout? How many kilometres of road in Australia? And I worked it all out. And you've got like a 0.003% chance of breaking down at a roundabout. That's fucking bad luck.
Yeah, it's pretty
And I'm like,
unlucky.
is that like, I wonder if that's like less likely than winning lotto. And then I looked up lotto, it was like 0.0000. It's like real bad.
Yeah, right. You've got way too much time on your hands.
I do. I live at the coast now.
Oh, fuck. I had a funny moment last night. Westy had like a movie night at his school. And it was like Super Mario Brothers. And a kid, like half an hour before the movie started, a kid was running in front of the screen and just ripped all the wires out of the back of the mixer and shit. So it's come like the movie was starting at 6:30, so it's come over the PA system, like everyone get your seats, blah, blah, blah. And they've hit play on this and there was just no sound or anything. Anyway, they ended up fucking around with this for like 45 minutes to get the sound going. But in the meantime, I'm like, oh, I've got to go for a piss. And I went to the toilet they told us to use. And the line was, there was probably like 30 people in the line. And I'm like, fuck this. And I used to go to the school, like at primary school. So I knew where there was like another toilet. So I've walked down there, and luckily they're unlocked, and I've done my piss. But because it's at the like end of the school you're not meant to be in, it's pretty much darkness. There's like a couple of little lights scattered here and there so you can see paths. Anyway, I've come out of the toilet and I just had like a dark hoodie on with some like shorts and shit. And I would have looked like a creep in the dark. Anyway, I'm walking in the dark and I just see these two kids walking towards me. They might have been in like grade 5 or something. And they've seen me and you could see they've like shut their pants because they've just seen this like shaved head dude walking in the dark in a hoodie and shit.
Dick out, ready to go.
Yeah. And they're frozen. And this is their test for predators. And I literally laughed at them because they stopped and they freaked out and they're like, "Are you a parent?" And I'm like,
Parents.
and I go, "Yeah." And they're like, and then one of them turned to the other one and he goes, "He's all good." And then they kept walking towards me. And I'm like, what if I wasn't? And I just said, yeah. And now you're both in my van.
There's no way he can lie.
Yeah,
it's all right.
It made me piss my pants. That,
You're in
like,
my
that
van.
was their test.
Yeah,
I'm like,
shit.
you're a parent.
Kid logic.
Yeah. Fuck.
That's brutal. Katie rang me the other day when I was at work. She's like, I don't know if I'm just being like sexist or I'm like cutting shit on the saw and I'm like, okay. And she goes, like, I feel like shit that I'm thinking this, but how long have you worked in daycare centres for? I'm like, I've done heaps of reno work at my last job for a good decade of just daycare centres. She's like, how many males have worked in them?
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I've seen 2. I've definitely seen 1, but I think I may have seen 2 males out of all the centres I've worked in.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but yeah, she goes, I just dropped Hamish off and there was 3 dudes there and one girl, and that was the manager. It was early. Yeah. And there was 3 guys. She's like, I've never seen guys work at a childcare centre, and why do I straight away think that they're pedophiles?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I get why you'd think that because I'd probably think it too.
For sure.
And yeah, and she's like, it's just weird. Like, I'm questioning why they go work in that industry when they could do anything else.
Yeah. There is something odd about it. And like,
probably because whenever you hear of a pedophile, it's never like, this lady sexually abused this boy. It's so rare to hear that.
Yeah,
and when you do hear it, it's the South Park. Nice.
Yeah. So my mum obviously works in childcare.
Yeah.
And she's worked there for like just over 20 years, I think. And same deal. I think she's only ever had 2 guys work in that centre from what I can remember. And they were both homosexuals. But fun fact, I don't have any fact behind this, but I feel like mum or someone in the childcare industry's told me.
Yeah.
I think that if there's a male working in the centre and he has to change a nappy, there has to be another staff member present.
True.
Which to me, that part sounded sexist.
It sounds sexist, but I 100% agree.
I agree as well. But it's like, I actually saw like an argument on TikTok the other day. It was like 4 feminists lined up against this one, like
the whatever podcast.
It might have been that.
Probably, yeah.
And she was trying to tell him like the facts that like 99.9% of sexual predators are male or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're wrong, that's not a fact. And she's like, it is. And he's like, no, it's not. And he just like had all these facts obviously to back himself up.
Yeah.
And she was just like, everything should like have to like step back and go, oh my God, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, and it was just, I love videos like that where people go in so confident about the dumbest shit. But
But yeah, I always thought that too, because I've never had the balls to ask one of these managers when I've been there, like, do you guys just turn away any male applicants or do guys just not want to do this job? Because they're not paid very well. And I think those jobs, chicks should be paid fucking heaps because whoever's in the job, chicks or guys, should be paid heaps because it's a caring role and it's one we can't do without. It's like 100%. Doctors and shit, like nurses. They're kind of industry jobs that you can, fucking, they're shit jobs.
Yeah, I'd fucking hate it.
I change my own kids' nappies, let alone someone else's.
Yeah, I think my childcare teacher was a dude. I feel like he used to play guitar to us. And
that's one way of grooming him.
Oh fuck! But yeah, I agree with Katie.
Yeah,
it's. Yeah.
When I dropped him off once, there was one dude there. I was like, oh, whatever. And then she said she saw 3. I was like, wow, that's
a lot.
That's strange.
In one sentence.
And I'm pretty sure it's like the only childcare in Nambour, so there's probably not much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
How many staff do you reckon they got?
I don't know. I only pick them up.
20?
Nah, definitely not that many.
Not that many. So it's a high percentage of male staff.
There's probably
I guess
probably only seen I'd say probably 10-ish.
I guess it's similar. Like it is similar in our industry though. If you rock up to a site and there's like a chick on site, you're a bit like,
yeah. No matter how ugly she is, you're going to stare at her.
I wasn't thinking that. I was just like, oh,
Nice.
like it feels different, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I wasn't going. I know what I'm going to be looking at all day.
that's what I got for smoko. Yeah, it's something different. Like it's not right to see, sort of thing. Like I've worked with female cabinet makers when I was an apprentice and stuff, and fuck, man, this one chick, she was working the CNC machine, and Stewie, who was like the tradie there, he was just like a gearhead, and he fucking was so brutal towards her. Just fucking, he'd physically hit her and not like beating her, but like he'd like walk past and smack her and shit. Like
True.
and she was like, stop, and she was nothing special.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
She was just like this semi-retarded chick.
Yeah.
I don't know why she was even working there. Couldn't lift a sheet of board. Like, how are you in this job and like you're going to demand equal pay? Or
Yeah. I've worked with 2 chicks as well, and both cases ended in like sexual harassment threats towards the boss.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
That's why I think the whole argument comes in when they're talking about like when it comes to hiring staff. If there's like a female applicant versus a male applicant, they're more likely to pick the male because there's more of a financial risk to pick a female because one, they have to have a kid and have time off.
Yeah.
So you're not only whether the government pays for that time off or you have to pay for it. There's a person missing and you can't replace them.
100%.
Also, if there's any sexual harassment claims, it's going to be from a chick. No dude's going to be like, somebody slapped my ass.
Yeah. We did have a dude at our last work. He got his dad to write an email, and he's like, his dad's like, my son was forced to watch horse pornography at Smoko.
The best kind.
And I was like, wait, nobody forced him.
Let me guess, it wasn't horse
He
on
was
horse
curious.
either.
No, no, it was horse on human. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was fun. There was a lot of stuff in that email. That was a bad email.
I think you may have forwarded me that email.
Yeah, I did.
Back.
I sent it to a lot of people. I found it pretty funny. But yeah, I fucking went on a road trip this week too.
Where to?
You'll never guess.
Toowoomba?
Nah.
Oh.
No, it's for comedy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Got to go to Lismore, which was fun.
Yep.
First, actually, no, I have been to New South Wales. Been to Ballina. Ballina's New South Wales, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to do a little gig down there.
Oh, wait, is it?
I think it
Yeah,
is.
I think it's before Byron.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not a geologist. Is that the right word?
No. Is it? Isn't a geologist rocks?
Yes. Oh, what's geographyist?
I know. Anywho, yeah, I went to Lismore for a gig. And it was one of the funnest gigs I've been to because me and 3 other comedians, 2 of them have been on the podcast, Reed and Cody. I don't know if you remember them. Yeah, we went down there with another one of our mates, Max, who we're all in a group chat together. And it was just sick to fucking like spend that whole drive just like running jokes past each other and literally just ripping the shit out of each other.
Should have bought the mic.
We legit wanted to. And I'm like, if we had a power source, I could bring it. But yeah, it would have been so much logistics and 90% of the chats we had couldn't be aired.
What about just your iPhone?
Yeah, I don't know. It was more fun to just be like, you know, as soon as these go off, all the good shit comes out. And it's like,
Can't wait. We got 15 minutes, man. We got 15. Yeah.
But yeah, it was good because we all went down there. We all did well at the gig because that was the thing I was worried about if like one of us bombed. And I was like, oh, this could be an awkward drive home. But yeah, no, it was good. I had to go first though, which was fucked. I hate going first, especially with my shit because it's like people are either going to be into it or they're not going to be into it.
Yeah.
And it was the first time in like probably 4 or 5 months that like I closed on my dog bit. And it was the first time it like didn't work for like ages.
Really?
And it's been my safety blanket for so long.
Yeah.
And I like got to the first laugh of it and I just got to like, and I was like, oh, you guys are not going to like the end of this.
Turns out this guy fingers his dog.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, fuck. So that bit sucked, but yeah, it is what it is.
Have you put any clips up of yourself yet? Or not yet?
Nah, not yet. It's
Do you plan on it?
Yeah, I will. So I've got a gig at Mawillimbar on the 11th of August, which I've been told there's going to be like 200 people at that gig, roughly. So I'm getting Will, who's been on the podcast before, the videographer. He came to the Rum Distillery show last time and like filmed a heap of that.
Yeah.
So he's thinking of coming with me and putting together like a bit of a vlog kind of thing and put some videos up. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. Once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Well, you're the one putting it up, so if you don't pull the joke off, you can just not put it up.
Yeah. Oh, I've got like... I think I've got enough videos of like all my jokes working well at least once to put it up like on the internet sort of thing. But it's just, I don't know. I'm in that funny stage of I don't want to burn the material. And then like, I don't know, in 6 months I do a half an hour show or something somewhere and they're like, we've already heard all this fuck with. Write some new shit.
Yeah.
Go through another home invasion, you piece of shit.
Yeah, because I was like, since you've been having fucking comedians on, I've been like, whenever someone's on, I'll go to the Instagram to see what they're about. And no offense to any comedians listening, but
here we go.
Don't just have an Instagram and put up photos of you holding a microphone every 10 seconds. Put up a clip of your shit or nothing at all.
Yeah,
like,
I'm guilty for that.
I don't care that you're holding a microphone. And I guess, like, hi, I'm Ash. I'm famous for backflips. And here's a photo of me standing there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I get you.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
At least a musician, like, it's a photo of you rocking out, so it's different.
Yeah, I know.
But
plus, like, I feel like music's different because you like a song, so you want to hear the artist.
The whole point is to get your material out, whereas for you, it's like, I don't want everyone to hear my jokes, and then they're not going to want to come to a show.
Yeah, exactly. Then I go, oh, buy tickets to this show, and then they buy tickets and just come and watch what they've seen on Instagram, and they're like,
it's like buy tickets to this movie, but you can watch it here first.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get it. It's
not going to hit as hard, but I'm definitely. Definitely within the next 6 months, I'll start putting some videos out.
Yeah.
I think so. Because I was having a chat to Andrew after last week's episode, I think, and he's just like, you got to fucking just start pumping like videos and shit like that. He's like, it's the only way I got traction.
That's it.
I think it's the only way anyone gets traction, but
I suppose
it's scary.
When you write a new set and you can start dropping jokes, that's when you put the video of the
For sure,
out.
Yeah, which I think that's what most people do. Once the joke's pretty much dead, they'll put it out there and then it doesn't really matter. And then a lot of people like will still pull that joke back in every now and then because they know people like it, sort of thing. It's like hearing one of the classics.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
It was
I finished it now, but I read a comedy book this week, and it's like legitimately one of the best books I've ever read. Like
comedy book.
Yeah, so it's called Running the Light by Sam Tallent. So Sam Tallent's touring Australia soon, and he's have you seen him on like Rogan and shit like that?
You and I were talking about him.
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah.
So he's got a book, and I thought it was like his autobiography or something. So I've bought it, and it's actually like a fictional book about a stand-up comedian, and the book's literally like everything I'm like scared of becoming, and it's such a hectic.
Successful.
No, so it's in short, I guess it's about a comedian who had like a wife and kids and all that, and he's just chased that dream, and along the way he's like lost fucking his entire life basically, and now he's just doing like gigs for like $100 or $200 every night a week, just living off that, and he's like got a massive cocaine addiction and just like literally everything you imagine.
Yeah.
So he's like got to the top, and now he's on his way back down, and he runs into like all these other, like they use real names of famous comedians and shit. And like he runs into them, and they're all like, "Oh, what happened to you?" Basically, and it's just like the book is basically a week in his life, but it's just obviously something fucked happens like every day.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the end of the book, and it's just like, yeah, the whole thing is just fucking hectic. And it's just like, it was the first book in as long as I can remember that got me like hooked from start to finish.
Oh, when did you read this? Recently?
Last week, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you should read it sometime.
Will I like it if I'm not a stand-up comedian?
I think so.
I watched it.
It'd be like saying, will I like Black Hawk Down if I'm not a ballerina?
A ballerina? You mean a soldier?
Yeah. Haven't seen it.
Have you not seen that?
No.
Oh my god. Have you? Okay.
I'm assuming it's about a helicopter that crashes.
Yes, you've seen
Black
the
Hawk
trailer.
Down.
I get it.
What's in the name?
Something about a bird that can't fly.
Oh, fuck.
Have you seen any movie that we've like debated on? Or
Nah, not yet.
Ah.
I've got some time tomorrow that I could watch one of these classics, but I'm actually going to the movies with Nikita to see Barbie. Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be good.
So you're going to miss the UFC fight for that?
Nah, so we're going to an early booking.
Yeah.
So I'm going to miss the prelims, which I'm not happy about.
Yep.
So plan is smash out Barbie.
Everyone wants to.
Yeah. Smash out Ken.
Oh, yeah.
And then race home for the main card.
So why do you have to go watch Barbie?
Well, Nikita wants to.
What's the appeal?
Margot Robbie.
Oh, she in it?
She's Barbie.
Wow. So much I know. If anyone's going to be Barbie, it's going to be her. I thought Barbie... how come Barbie's not black? Because, I mean...
I think there is black Barbies in there.
I suppose there was in the toy world. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what they do with the movie.
I've
heard reviews both ways.
Oh man, so. I got smashed with all the negative reviews about how it's all sexist and like it's just woke and all that. And then I was hearing the positive reviews, and then I'm like, I don't even give a fuck. Like, why am I listening to the reviews? I don't even want to watch the movie.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why we're going to the movies to watch it, because the amount of good movies that have come out in the last like 6 months that we haven't gone and seen.
Yeah.
But I think Nikita's just caught up in the hype of it.
Have you seen have you heard the whole Sound of Freedom thing that's going on? That movie?
Nah. What's that?
It's a movie about like child sex trafficking.
Oh, true.
It's like
that sounds fun.
It's super happy.
Are you a parent?
No, it's just like it's based on Tim Ballard, not Tom Ballard.
Okay.
Tim Ballard. He's ex fucking. What's the? Is it ex cop that does like they do sting operations and shit? What's it called?
I might go
CIA
see
or
Barbie.
something?
Yeah.
Anyway, he gives up his career to go like rescue children in Colombia and shit like that are victims of sex trafficking. And it's a full fucking. I haven't seen it, but from what I've heard, they're on heaps of podcasts.
Yeah.
Anyway, it somehow got political as well.
True.
And then so it's just remember that video I sent in our chat of that kid getting abducted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fucked.
I think that's in. I haven't seen the movie, but I think the opening credits of the movie are just actual videos of all of those things that are happening.
Yeah, right.
And like real actual footage of kids getting taken. There's kids playing in the street. Car pulls up, grabs one, fucks off. Never see the kid again.
That's
and it goes to these like trafficking rinks. And so the movie's about. It's all like true. It's all based on Tim Ballard, who his job was to like take down one of these whole rinks.
Yeah.
And so the guy who's acting him is out of like Passion of the Christ and whatever. Not Mel Gibson, the other guy. Of course you haven't seen it. But
I've read the Bible.
Yeah. And like talk like when you hear him talking, like listen to one of the podcasts they're on, and it's hard not to fucking get so angry at what goes on.
Oh, I could imagine. That shit's fucked.
To the point where
freaks me the fuck out.
As the guy who had to like take these guys down, he had to watch hundreds. Yeah, I think he said hundreds of hours of kids getting fucking tortured and raped and
Fuck that.
like fucked up shit. Even the actor had to watch some of it with him just to like get a sense of what's going on.
That's
I don't think I could watch the movie. Like watching
not a
that
chance.
clip that I sent you of that chick standing there with a child in the street.
Yeah.
Car pulls up, guy jumps out, takes the kid, and the other guy holds a gun to her. Like, don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And the kid was like, it looked like my kid's age.
Yeah,
like
that'd fucking destroy me.
I wouldn't know what to do.
No, just because like I don't picture it all the time, but I have had thoughts of like, because Westy will freak the fuck out if like Nikita's at the shops for too long, and I'm like, fuck, if this kid got taken, like, I don't know how the fuck he would cope, sort of thing.
Yeah,
like because I don't know. When I was a kid, I think I've like always been a little bit messed up, and I've always been like, I felt like I could get myself out of shit. Like I could never get myself out of something like that.
Yeah,
but I feel like I'd have like, I don't know how to say it, but
too much confidence,
something like that. I just feel like I would be like, oh, everything's going to be okay. I'll get myself out of this. Like I get myself out of everything else.
That can't happen to me.
Yeah. Whereas with him, I just feel like he'd be a fucking like a wreck.
Yeah,
and then it'd make them angry, and it's a fuck thing to do.
You care about their feelings.
Yeah. Fucking this week. So this literally happened this week. He come home from school, and he's like, "Oh, I had to do a new class during my lunch break." Nikita and I are like, "During your lunch?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's me and like 5 other kids." And he's like, no, he must be 6 other kids, because he's like, it's me and then a kid from every grade.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, oh, okay. And we're like, what do you do there? And he's like, oh, just like activities and stuff. He's like, I don't want to do it. It's boring. So Nikita emailed the school, and she's like, oh, what's this class Weston has to do during lunchtime? And they're like, oh, it's the, what's it called? Gifted and talented thing.
Yeah.
And they've picked a kid from each grade that they think is excelling, and they want to further their like learning and shit during their lunch breaks. And we're like, oh, why weren't we made aware of any of this?
Can he make shit levitate? Or
No, so he's like, I think he's like cheating with his autism, but it's like maths and like all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
We were playing a game the other day. He was whinging in the back seat. So I made up a game on the spot, and I'm like, Westy, every car that goes past, we'll get the 3 numbers on the number plate, and you have to tell me what they all add up to. So he's like adding 3 numbers and shit, and he was doing it like so fucking quick, like quicker than I was doing it. And I'm like, fucking don't get too smart. Leave me in the dust. Anyway, so then Nikita and I are like, oh, fucking why weren't we made aware, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, it's compulsory. And I'm like, how can like something like that be compulsory? Same day, I don't know if you listened to the episode of Duncan Trussell on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And at the end, they talk about how kids get chosen for the gifted and talented program by the CIA to be trained up as like future agents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Duncan's like, if you feel the back of the kid's head, there'll be like a small bump from where they've injected like a chip.
MK Ultra.
Yeah. And he's like,
it's gonna be the next Manson.
Yeah. They're like, they make you drink this pink fizzy drink and stuff like that. So Westy got home that afternoon. And I was being an idiot, and I felt the back of his head. I couldn't feel anything.
As if you did it legitimately. You're like, good to see you, buddy. And you rub the back of his head.
Yeah, I felt the back of his head.
Always had this bump.
And I'd already told Nikita this, and she's looking at me like, you're a fucking idiot. And then I hit him up. I'm like, hey, in this class you go to, they don't make you drink like a pink drink or anything, do you? He's like, no. And I'm like, okay, that's good. He's like, what's the pink drink? And I'm like, don't worry. If they offer it to you, don't drink it. He's like, what flavour is it? I'm like, just don't think about the pink drink. So now I've like injected this pink drink in his head.
Pink drink, yep. Pink drink is evil.
But I was like, fuck. But I thought that was fucked up that like we don't get to choose if he goes or not.
Yeah, everything should be fucking...
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's typical like education thing.
Yeah. Other than that, like, because we changed his schools at the start of the year. Because his last school, like, I went to an assembly once because he got an award, and it was like literally like a fucking army boot camp. Like every kid was just like eyes on the front, like back straight, like they couldn't have like a personality or anything. And I was like, I didn't like thrive in anything like that. So
Boy Scouts.
Yeah. But yeah, he's killing it at this school. A little too much, it would seem.
Getting smarter than his old man.
Yeah. CIA.
I'm trying to teach Josh about strangers because, when I go to pick Hamish up in the Arvos, Josh is with me and he wants us to sit in the car. He doesn't want to hop out. I'm like, I can't leave you here. Strangers will get you. So he thinks strangers means the worst of the humans. And I've also told him that anyone you don't know is a stranger. So he thinks anyone he doesn't know is bad. And I'm like, how do I fucking tread the fine line of strangers can take you and kill you? Yeah. Also, they're not all bad. That's a judgment call. So I picked him up the other day from school and we walked from the school to the car and I put him in his car seat and I'm like, where's your lunchbox? And then he's like, oh, it's in my fucking thing. And in his broken English. And he's 3-year-old English. And so I'm like, oh, we got to go back get your lunchbox. So I took him out of the car and he's like, I'll stay here. And I'm like, no, I got to take you. Strangers can get you. So as I walk him back through the bus stoppy thing, there's this girl just standing on her own. And out loud, he's like, I don't like her. She's a stranger. I'm like, sorry. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, yeah, it's funny as. Hamish, my youngest one, he's a walking soundbite at the moment. He just says like catchphrases. And then Josh is like the first edition of Siri, like fucking put your socks on. He'll be like sing a truck song or something. You know?
Yeah, P started to say fuck a lot, and I'm like, this is not good. Like he'll just keep saying it, and I'm like, and the more I say don't do it, do
you say don't do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Josh has done the same. His first day back this term, we were sitting at dinner. He's like, fuck it. And he kept saying it. And we're like, Joshy, eat your vegetables. Yeah. And Katie's looking at me like, what do we do?
Yeah.
I go, don't say anything. Because the second you tell him not to say, like,
that's what,
why? He's at that why stage.
Yeah.
Why? And you explain why. And he asks again. He says it like 3 or 4 times before you're explaining it at like the molecular level. And so we just ignore it. But he's picking it up.
Yeah. Nikita's like, don't acknowledge him. And I'm like, it's so hard not to. And then it gets to that point where it's like, he's being cute about it. And we just start like giggling and we're like, fuck, we cracked. Now it's in his vocabulary.
On the way home the other day, I picked him up and we have to drive past some farms and there's cows. I was meant to record it because he does it all the time. But he's like, I can see the cows. I'm like, yeah, cool. And then he's like, trying to tell me where cow milk comes from. And he's like, and the farmer, they pull the cow's willy and then the milk comes out and he puts it in a cup and they put it on the table and I drink it and I say, thank you.
Like I literally said this the other day too. He's like, it was on YouTube and he's like, why is that man pulling the cow's doodle?
Son, not every dangly thing from your body is a doodle.
Yeah, and then I was like trying to explain to him, like, it's an udder. And he's like, it's a doodle. And I'm like, okay, then, whatever you want to think.
It's a doodle.
But yeah, fucking hell. All right, let's get these mics off so we can start chatting some real shit about Adrian.
Oh,
fucking Adrian. Jesus Christ. Maybe he could make an appearance at episode 100 or something.
Yeah, maybe. Give it 50.
See how we go. But appreciate you coming in, and I'm sure you'll be around at some stage.
Another 10 months.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. All right. See you later.
Cheerio.